The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
Live on Hoppe Hour is a legend. So legendary in Tampa Bay, I'm going to have you introduce yourself. What's up, dude?
My first question for you, Hoppe. I'm Steve Miller, also known as Moonshine Miller. My first question for you is, you say we're live on the Hoppe Hour.
I meant to say, it sounds cool to say live. We're not really live.
Well, you know what? Then let's just say broadcasting from Manhattan. If we're just saying things that sound cool, let's just start making shit up.
Live from Tijuana.
I love it. We can curse, by the way, right?
Yeah, say whatever the fuck you want.
I know that because we're not live.
Yeah, and it's weird. I try not to swear too much, but like when I have comics in, I end up swearing a little bit. But I try not to swear every other word. Like when I interviewed Jim Norton last weekend, I had two things I asked him, and I ended it with, "What's your take on that shit?" And I'm like, that is so lame, so I took that part out. So when I'm around comics, sometimes I get a little bit too vulgar, but it's fine.
But see, that's the thing. Like, this is how people talk. This is how adults speak to one another.
Yeah.
So for you, it's important to learn how not to curse, because obviously you want a career in radio and you're well on your way. You know, but the flip side of it is you also want to be natural. I mean, that's the fun thing about a thing like podcast or satellite radio. You can just speak, as we would.
And what's fun too is you don't need to be vulgar. Like when I talk about blowjobs, I'll say she went south of the border, or you'll say backdoor action for anal. So like this is the one time I've addressed what I say. But when people hear me say south of the border, I'm talking about oral sex. Like I'm not talking about going to Brazil on a trip. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know you're talking like a 55-year-old man would talk. Going south of the border, so edgy. Hoppy's getting edgy. He's going south of the border.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I always try to get my show ready to be on the radio. You know what I mean?
It's smart, man. That's good thinking. The last thing you want to do is send, "Hey, listen to my podcast," and it's fuck. No program director will put you on.
How do you do your comedy? Do you swear a lot?
I do curse a lot because I curse a lot naturally. That's sort of who I am. But most of my premises are fairly clean. I don't work too dirty. So if I need to, I can take the curse words out, but I'd rather not. Like it's a weird thing. I didn't get into comedy to do clean comedy. I didn't get into comedy to worry about doing corporate gigs. Like I got an offer right now to do a corporate gig, and I haven't responded to them yet because sort of on the fence. I know I can do it. I know I can get through it, but it's just not that much fun. I don't enjoy it as much. I wind up thinking too much on stage.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like if you get so used to being vulgar, then it's hard to adapt when you're in front of all these corporate professional people. Like, how would you approach it if you do the show? Like, how are you going to change up your comedy? Do you maybe use slang words that aren't as dirty, or do you just do completely different material?
I don't do completely different material because most of my premises are clean. It's just a lot of cursing. So I would say, instead of saying, like, "What the fuck," I maybe say, "What the
Yeah. What the hell? What's up with that?
Yeah, no, I hate "what the hell." See, I know what you're like. What the hell? I'm like a waitress at Denny's and I'm 55 years old. No, you got to figure out some way to say fuck without saying fuck. So it's like, what the fuck? Like that. Maybe expression of anger there, or maybe just leave it out completely and skip the fuck, because look, saying fuck isn't necessarily funny.
I think it makes it funny just because I'm so weak-minded.
But there are certain places where saying fuck does make it funnier. And I know this because that works that way in some of my bits. Like I'll do a bit and I'll fuck around with the words a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll take this word out, that word out. And sometimes I'll play around with taking that, like exchanging fuck for something else. There's 2 or 3 spots in my act where I know where I say fuck, it hits harder. And I think it also hits harder because I don't curse as much. Like right now I'm cursing a bunch, but on stage I use it, I think, when it's appropriate, because you overkill it, it's too much.
And you know what's weird, too, is, like, we're just guys talking, so it doesn't seem like it's, like, filthy. But, like, my mom listens to all my shows, and I talk about how I lost my V-card to a 48-year-old MILF who was a fan of Rover. Or me and Jim Norton are talking about him getting hookers. We're talking about other things. And it's just like, you don't realize how filthy you are until other people listen. And then you're saying to yourself, it's not that dirty, but like my little cousins couldn't listen to my show. It's just weird how when you're an adult, things change. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. My father, for the first time last year, came and actually saw me do a full set. I did 45 minutes at Side Splitters. And I was so nervous about it because they'd see me do little spots here and there when I was first starting doing comedy. And I was like, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? I'm like, you know what? I can't change anything. I'm a 40-year-old man. He's a 70-year-old man. He knows what's up. Like it's too late now. This is who I am. So I opened up immediately with what I opened up with. I opened up with my a couple references to cocaine. I get into what my act is, and afterwards he was thrilled. He loved it. He loved the whole thing, and it was great because it is like I'm on stage saying these things, and I could just see my dad sitting in the back of the room and wondering so much about it. But you can't worry about it. And the other thing is that we forget sometimes. And you're younger. You're 22. Like your mom is an adult. She's seen some shit. She sucked some dicks. She's been blasted inside of. I mean, that's how you got made.
It's weird though. I believe that she waited until marriage. I don't want to think about that, but my mom is so religious, and she is so.
How old was she when she got married?
37.
Your mom was 30. You're saying your mom didn't get any dick till she was 37.
Wait, she was.
Come
34.
on. I don't care if she was 34 or 37, man. Your mom was getting dick by the time she was 25.
Dude, no way, because she's so moral. Like, I can't explain. Like, she goes to church every week.
Oh, yeah. People that go to church never do filthy, freaky shit. You know who's always the purest people? Christians are always the purest, most unsullied people. Absolutely.
I do wonder, though. I think my dad, he was 29 when he married her, and she's like 6 years older than him.
Well, that's interesting. So you lost your virginity to a MILF, and your father lost his virginity to a MILF? Is that what you're claiming?
Whoa!
So
I never thought about that.
So maybe it runs in the family?
Wow! And he's goofy. I'm goofy. Man, I didn't.
At least you know he's actually your father.
Man, you just effed with my mind, dude.
Now let me ask you this: do you think your father was a virgin when he got married?
Oh, without a doubt.
Come on!
Without a doubt.
Look. Okay, so you're 22 years old, obviously, right? That's what you mentioned to me off air. So what are we? 2016. So you were born like late 90s.
93.
93, right? So your parents were married for how long before?
They were together for about 9 months, and then they got married in 92.
Oh, no! Your parents were fucking. This is not the 40s or the 50s. Like if this was the 40s or 50s, I could think maybe. No way. I mean, come on. We're past the 60s now. There are some people like Tim Tebow who don't fuck, right? But there's no way that your parents and they're still together.
My dad died in November of last year.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's tough. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's one of those things though where. They were so religious. I really believe that because my mom was so traditional and my mom is so traditional and my dad was too.
Muslim?
No, Roman Catholic. Every Friday, my dad wouldn't eat meat. He thought The Simpsons was dirty. He thought I was going to hell for watching Family Guy. My mom thinks that my show is smut. They are so religious. I truly.
Well, your mother's right about that. Your show is clearly smut. You have me on it. So
yeah, once I have moonshine on, that's when it's reached smutty territory.
Like I get that. Like I'm not doubting your parents' sincerity in their faith. I'm sure that it was. But do you really think as a man that you wait that long? Why do you say you're sure that your father was a virgin?
He was such an awkward guy. He was so my aunt's going to be mad I'm saying this. My grandpa was such a hard ass. Where my dad had like daddy issues because my dad could never live up to what my grandpa wanted out of him. My grandpa was a Navy SEAL with 4 Purple Hearts, almost died 4 times.
God, who can live up to that? Who the fuck can live up to that?
And then he was almost a professional golfer, but then his first wife died like in the late 40s, early 50s. So my grandpa always wanted the best out of everybody. And me and my grandpa were close, and everybody loved my grandpa. But I think it kind of gave my dad daddy issues because it was never good enough for him.
Well, it's a different dynamic between a son and a grandson. Like the son, it's the father's responsibility to get this kid through life.
Yeah.
The grandson, it's just a different dynamic, so it's a lot easier. But that would be a lot of pressure, man. Like a Navy SEAL with 4 Purple Hearts. My father was military 21 years, and he's got a couple Bronze Stars, no Purple Heart. Did a couple tours in Vietnam, retired after 21 years, then went on to start his own successful law firm before he retired. And I'm at the age now where I'm like, oh, shit, my dad had already completed 21 years of military service and was in law school and was preparing his own law firm, and I traveled around the country telling dick jokes. And my dad never put any pressure on me. So I can't imagine I can't imagine growing up with somebody that was a Navy SEAL that actively put pressure on you to rise the occasion. That's rough, man.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where then my dad put pressure on me because it went down the chain. Once
That's how it
again,
goes.
my family's not going to be happy. But my grandpa's dad, my great-grandpa, was a big hard-ass who worked out every day, and I think may have been in World War I. Whatever. So it's gone down the chain, and each time it got better. But my dad he was so Catholic, oh my God, that it made me not Catholic. Like, that's why I'm atheist, is because he shoved it down my throat. I had to go to Sunday school, get confirmed.
I did that. What's your confirmation name?
John, because it's like Pope John Paul.
I'm Francis.
You look like a
Saint
Francis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did the whole thing too. Do you remember, like, I still have my spiritual beliefs. I don't call myself an atheist, but do you remember the moment that you lost your faith?
I don't know. It seems so unplausible. It's just happened
course.
over time. It just seems moronic.
Just like a chipping away. The time when I first really was like, oh, this is all bullshit, at least the organized religion part of it. I was in Sunday school. I could spend the night at my friend's house because we had no curfew, but the deal was we had to go to church in the morning, and he was a Baptist. So in high school, I went to a lot of Sunday school at some Baptist church. And in class, somebody asked the question. They said, hey, if alcohol is bad, because as a Catholic, there's nothing wrong with alcohol, but the Baptists have a problem with alcohol. The kid asked, if alcohol is bad, how come they drink wine in the Bible? And the Sunday school teacher said, oh, wait, no. In the Bible, that's different than what we understand wine now. When they talk about wine in the Bible, they meant like grape juice. And the whole class just moved on. And I'm like, but they talk about being drunk in the Bible. They talk about wine. It wasn't grape juice. And I remember sitting there, and it was one of the first times I remember as a kid or as a teenager or whatever thinking, oh, parents can just lie to you. Like, this is obviously just a lie.
It's just so hypocritical. I think my thing is once I found out what a pedophile was, because I learned what a pedophile was when the whole Michael Jackson thing happened 10 years ago. And I'm like, what does it mean to molest somebody?
You?
I went to Neverland. No, but it was one of those things where that's when I learned about the whole priest thing. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Why would the Pope cover it up? He's supposed to be this holy figure that everyone looks up to.
Of course.
So that broke away from me. And then just having it shoved down my throat. And everybody who is religious, for the most part, is annoying. Because they're better than us. Look at us. Oh, shut up.
Okay, see, now I agree with you. I don't think that it's everybody that's religious. But there's
90%.
There's certainly, okay, well, sure. That seems a little high to me.
No, it's not.
And whereas I agree with you, there certainly are that group of people, but those people that talk that way and act that way have completely missed the point of Christianity. The point of Christianity is to be humble and to be of service, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So judging other people as a Christian, it flies directly in the face of what you're supposed to do. So even though they do that, and I agree with you, even though they do that, they miss the point.
It's bragging, like, God's helped me so much in my life. I think my thing now when it comes to religion is I believe that my mom believes so hard about religion, and I believe that everybody who is so passionate about religion truly believes in what they believe in. I just don't believe that what they believe in is real.
Sure. I happen to agree with you. Like
I see the passion in everyone's eyes. I see how into it they get and how happy it makes them and how it comforts them. But I meditate or I jerk off or I play Madden, and then I'm fine.
That is a real wide spectrum of things. Like, I thought you were about to get real deep. Like, I meditate and I work at a soup kitchen and I volunteer at the Humane Society. But you jump from meditation to jerking off to playing Madden. It's amazing. It's amazing to me the way your mind works.
If you ask any local comedian from the city, that's how the show goes. You just never know.
They all know how much you jerk off? Is that what you're going to say? If you ask any local comedian in Tampa, they all will tell you, Hoppe loves to jerk it.
Oh, yeah. If you ask anybody from Cigar City Comedy, the old shows from like 2 months ago were about, how do I get girls? I'm so awkward around girls. And then I got laid a month ago, so now I'm fine. Like when I had Cam Bertrand on, I had to take out the last 15 minutes because it was two horny 21-year-olds talking about porn. And it got really filthy. And I was like, I can't put this on.
You kind of look like Cam Bertrand on HGH a little bit. Like a little bit. I could see that. I love Cam. Cam's a good dude.
Dude. Tampa Bay has a legit comedy scene.
It really is impressive, man. Like it's exciting It's exciting to see it. I'm not as active in it as I would like to be. Part of that is I still have a day job, and then I have a family, and I'm doing comedy a lot, so I don't get to be as active as I want to. But there are a group of guys and girls that are doing some amazing things, and they keep pushing it forward. And there are some amazing shows happening, and it's something really to be proud of, man. A lot of those guys, especially those guys from Cigar City, have worked really hard to elevate the scene, and I think it's proven effective.
And it's one of those things too where everybody is so different. There's no hacks. Like, everybody in Cigar City comedy is so different. I mean, you look at someone like Jared Waters, who sort of tells tales always up on there.
I love Jared because he won't.
It's genius.
He won't say he's not a genius.
He is to me. Maybe it's because he gives me advice. He seems like a genius.
I love Jared. I had to say he's not a genius in the off chance he listens to this, but he is. He's a great comic. His homosexual Jedi bit is one of my favorite bits that anybody in Tampa does.
Yeah, his comedy is so unique. And then you have someone like J.B. Ball, who is hyper, and then you have John Jacobs, who's like a frat boy, and it's just, I love that scene. Like, it feels like I'm a part of something when I'm around comedians in this era. It's just, everybody's so unique. There's no hacks. And then, like, you're around Amanda Jordan, who is so funny.
She's great, man. Absolutely.
She's so edgy, and what I love is she does not care what anybody thinks of her. That's what I love, too.
There's a guy out of Gainesville, and she absolutely is, and she should be. She should be confident of her material. She's good. There's a guy named Chris Heist. He lives in Gainesville. He's an extreme is a stupid word to use. He's a determined atheist, and he's anti-military. He's clearly an anarchist guy. My views don't always line up with him, but you talk about somebody that's edgy and that's not scared. I did a show with him in Riverview, and Riverview, for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, 60 plus, a bunch of white hairs, all white people, and there's the first time I ever saw him, and he goes on stage and immediately starts bashing Christianity in a very smart and funny way, but that crowd had no desire or no interest in hearing it. He never got flapped up. He never got bothered. He never got annoyed. He stuck with it. He kept his pacing, and I laughed through all the comics in the back of the room were howling. They were laughing.
Is that what you do? You just don't care what anyone thinks and you just keep doing it?
No, I don't. I have a constant struggle in my head, and I'm starting to pull more and more towards speaking my own voice and my own truths. But I started off, and I was lucky enough to get on the road fairly quickly, so I really wanted to make people laugh, and I really wanted to say, like, being the age that I am and starting comedy when I did, I already had a family. And I understand how hard it is for people to get out of the house, especially when you have kids. So there will be times where I'd sit in the back of the room, I go, okay, these people got a babysitter, they paid money to park, they paid to do this, to do that, and then I'm going to go on stage and I'm going to tell them all their worldviews are wrong. That feels kind of shitty. But now, as I grow and progress more, and as I feel like I've gotten funnier, I've learned to be funny. Now it's time to learn how to get my opinion.
How do you learn how to be funny?
Just reps, man. Just reps and doing it and writing. You grow over time. It's that old Malcolm Gladwell rule of 10,000 hours. The more time you put into something, the better you get.
That's what Rob Gargiulo from the Mike Kelta Show told me recently, and I'm really focused on that, is the 10,000 hours. That is what I'm focused on.
It's, where that number, I know it comes from a book called Outliers, but how he came to that number exactly, I'm not sure. But there's so much truth in that. When you listen back to these podcasts that you have now, when you listen back to the interviews you're doing now, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and go, ugh, I can't believe I did that. But all this work that you're doing now, it's all going to pay dividends in the end.
Dude, when I listened to my interview with Seth Kushner from Drew Garabo Show back in July, my first one ever, oh my God, I would just read off these things I typed to ask him, and I had no follow-up questions. Like, if you were here, I'd be like, so who's your influence? So where'd you grow up as a kid? What was it like growing up there? But now I just talk to people. It's how you got to do it.
Well, it's like you listen to a guy like Howard. I mean, there's probably not a better interviewer in radio or television than Howard. He has a bit of an advantage because he can keep people for an hour and there's no interruptions. But he's gotten that good because he's been doing it forever.
When you listen to old Howard from like 25 years ago, it's not hacky, but it's easy radio.
Sure. But to his credit, it's easy. It sounds like easy radio now. It wasn't easy radio necessarily 25 years ago.
That's a very, very, very valid point. Everyone copied him, and everyone did what he did in the 90s. So it's like, oh, I've heard this person do it, but we need to remember that he was the innovator who had the balls to do it.
Absolutely.
Which is why I look up to guys like him or Opie or Jim Norton or Anthony. Those are the guys who were the pioneers of quote-unquote shock jock radio. Those were the guys that did not care what anybody thought.
They moved it into the mainstream.
Yeah.
They did.
And then you see the guys like them who have talent, who are around, and then you see the guys who hide behind a fake persona, behind a microphone, and those are the guys that are beginning to deteriorate, are the ones that can't evolve with the times, and the ones that just are phonies.
And it's that way with every type of art, with every type of entertainment. You know, like we get angry when a band like goes a completely different direction.
You have to,
but you have to exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's frustrating. So it's like, what do they do? That sounds terrible. I hate it. But they have to get some enjoyment out of it too. The only time that I think that they shouldn't play the new stuff is when I pay a bunch of money to see them live. Look, make all the new albums you want to, but you got to play the hits.
What's the concert you've been to where you were just angry about?
Oh
that?
my God, Neil Young. I went and saw Neil Young, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago maybe. He was on some tour. It was called Greendale or Greenville or something like that. He had released some concept album, which was a story about a farm and farmers and whatever. I didn't know anything about this, but he came to what is now the Amalie Arena, the Ice Palace. We got tickets and we went down there, and there was like a set on stage, like a play set, and he came out, and there were actors. So he's singing, and then these actors are coming out and sort of playing the roles, but not really singing, like sort of like lip syncing along maybe. And that was the whole show.
That sounds so douchey.
And then at the end for the encore, he played Cinnamon Girl and one other tune. I don't remember what it was, but I could not believe the gall to play the whole concept album, some album that nobody wanted to hear, and then close. And he really rushed through those last two songs, man. Like, you could tell he had no interest in playing them.
That is when you sell out. That's when it's a little bit over the top.
That's too much, man. That not without making it very clear, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Did you know that going in or no?
I was given the tickets, so I'm not sure. I was, so maybe when you bought the tickets, you were made aware of it, but I was working for a company at the time that had a suite, and they had the tickets. So I'm like, of course I want to go see Neil Young.
How many suite shows did you go to?
I went to a bunch, man. I would go to everything. It wouldn't matter. Even if I knew Neil Young wasn't going to play the hits, I would probably go. I was like 25, 26. I didn't have a whole bunch of money. I was kind of broke. And you're going to give me these tickets and I can sit in a suite. Oh, I saw so many Lightning games. I went to Lightning playoff games. I saw some great shows.
Did you go to the Cup?
No, I did not. That was they did have the suite the season that they went to the Cup, and I went to some early playoff games. But as they advanced through the playoffs, to the postseason, of course, everybody was like, then everybody wanted tickets. All of a sudden, everybody was a hockey fan. And I was kind of low man on the totem pole, so I got asked out on that.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird area for being sport fans, just because it's so transplant. It's hard to read who's a real fan and who's not. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then especially with an organization like the Bucks, who historically have been so bad, the fans are still surprisingly passionate about the team.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's only been a few years where they've really been legitimate contenders and legitimate threats to make any noise in the playoffs, yet the fans are still super passionate about it. So there is that. So a lot of people are accused, Bucks fans of being bandwagon when they get good or this, that. But it's hard to be excited when you're bad for so long.
Not just that, but I used to hate on the Rays fan base. Oh, they suck. Oh, they're not loyal. But I had Chris Fisher on, the local sports anchor, and he told me that they're top 10 in viewership, and I think the problem is you have to go across to Howard Franklin, to see them.
And for a lot of, like, you're from Chicago, so a lot of people from major metropolitan areas don't understand that. They say, what's the big deal? You got to drive 30, 45 minutes.
Oh, it's horrible.
But there's this thing, man. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but it really is. And I think the Lightning are proof of that because they do good numbers. They have solid attendance. Even on years that they're not doing great, they still have nice attendance.
But I will say this about the Lightning. It's kind of weird how back in May, everybody was going crazy for it. And now, even if it's sort of cold out in Florida, nobody's going. It's just kind of weird how the vibe changed.
Well, it did. And I think part of it was the rough start to the season. I think there was a lot of excitement when the season started. And let's be honest, they're in 7th place. They're just barely hanging on to a playoff spot. So I think a lot of that excitement sort of went out the window when they got up to that rough start. And I think when they ramp up and they get to the postseason again, I think you're going to see the excitement come back.
I need to see it. It's so much fun working for the Bone when all the fans are crazy. They come by the tent. Oh, man, it's just awesome because it's like a frat boy attitude around there. Some people get a little bit too drunk and they'll come by the tent and be aggravating, but it's fun for the most part.
I would think so, yeah.
sport fans can get really irritating.
Dude.
I used to be so diehard in watching the Green Bay Packers lose because I'm a Bears fan, or watching the Miami Heat lose when they had LeBron, or the Yankees. I don't know. The passion in me being a sports fan is just taken out of me. Like, I didn't watch the NFL this year. The playoffs, I have not watched the full game. I just don't care about sports anymore. I don't know if you've been like that. Something happened. I'm done with it.
You've grown up. You have things to do. You got your own things to worry about. I like sports. I'm into them. I love college football.
If I had time, I'd watch it. That's the thing. When I have time to watch it, like
Yes.
when I was at my friend's house and we had a Sunday off, I had fun watching that Bucks game when they got screwed against the Colts. That was a good game. But I don't have time to sit and Netflix binge. Or when I watch one episode of Jessica Jones, I feel like I've binged all day. I don't get how people can binge watch something all day long.
Because they have nothing else to do. They have nothing else going on.
And a lot of times, it's people who are married that can't go anywhere on the weekend.
Sure, of course. There's nothing else. Look, this weekend I was off. I had no comedy. I had no work. And for the first time in a while, I actually had 2 days in a row where I had nothing to do.
I hate it.
Which was surprising. You hate it, but you get to a certain point, where it's nice to have that time off, just sort of recharge. So that Friday night I went and saw Jim Norton, which was, of course, an amazing show. And then Saturday we did stuff, whatever, boring shit. But I wound up actually watching a bunch of Jessica Jones and watching a bunch of Netflix. Occasionally, it's nice to just shut off and just say, I'm going to indulge my laziness. But you're right. I mean, you can't do it. If you do it all the time, you progress nowhere. You get nothing done.
I just feel like I'm doing something with my life when I'm interviewing guys like you, or I'm doing my rant here, or whenever I sit in on my Kelta show. Even when I go to the gym or just leaving the house. Maybe it's because my place is so small. I live in an efficiency room where it kind of gets depressing, and my neighbors are trash bags who I despise, and their dogs are always barking, and they're having maybe loud orgies. You hear moaning. And there's a pole down their living room, and they play techno music.
Are you jerking off when you hear the orgy happening?
No, because it's so creepy. I don't like hearing other people having sex right next door because I want to be that. Watching porn, at least it's been previously filmed, but you're like, why am I not banging hot girls right now? That's how I feel. I get jealous.
You get angry.
Do
you have like an angry jack while they're fucking? Or are you like, motherfucker? Oh. Oh! And then after you come, do you feel guilty and dirty because you're a Catholic upbringing? Oh, why can't I stop touching myself? Forgive me!
Dude, I am that way when I watch porn, though. Like, I get so sad afterwards. I've talked about this with, I think, Joe Riga and Law Smith. Like, once I climax, there's that line from Lil Wayne. First you come, and then you come to your senses. And that's how I feel. I'm just like, oh, everyone's getting laid, and I'm just watching Lisa Ann. I'm like, woo.
Nothing is faster than the speed of regret. As soon as you come, you're just disgusted with yourself.
And then
you're
the problem
just
is
disgusted with
you have
yourself.
to grab the tissue to clean it off while trying to close the computer screen.
Yes.
Because once you climax, then it's disgusting.
Yeah, now you've created a chore for yourself. You have to look at that sick weakness that's on the ground. It's all fucking over your legs or all over your hands. Like, I couldn't even control myself. I'm like a monkey. I can't even go a day without this. What's wrong with me? I'm a horrible person.
Dude, the pop-ups on there, too, then won't go away. Like, what happens is you'll get pop-ups, and then you'll close your laptop right afterwards. So then, like, an hour later, when I load up my computer trying to get ready for the show, then I hear moaning, or I hear, why aren't you talking to me, baby? I'm like, what is that? And then your pop-up ad will be up an hour later. And now that you're married, I assume that's the scariest thing is if you leave it open.
Oh, that's the beauty of the smartphone. That's the beauty of a nice big screen on a smartphone. That's my phone. Nobody else needs to mess with it. That's fine. Leave it be.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, 10 years ago, you couldn't even get porn on a smartphone. I remember my porn 10 years ago was I would use my...
You were 12. Hoppy, you were 12.
I used my razor, and what I would do is...
Are you telling me you were looking up porn on a razor at 12?
I was looking at pictures from, like, you could buy, like, wallpaper of hot babes, and that's what I used.
Wow, you started out at 12. I guess 12 makes sense, yeah.
That's 6th grade. Is that too early?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think when I first started jerking off.
I don't
I
know.
guess it would be about that. 12, 13 seems like too old.
The first time I did it was to the movie I Spy with Owen Wilson and Eddie Murphy. And there's that makeout scene with Owen Wilson and that hot chick that gets really sexy. And I remember when I was doing it, I was like, what's going on?
So the first time you came, you were looking at Owen Wilson. I find that amazing. At the first time you came, you were looking at Owen Wilson.
I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at the hot girl he was making out with.
No. You're telling me what did you cover up part of the screen where he was? You were eye to eye. You were eyeball to eyeball with Owen Wilson, just wallowing in your filth, you sinner. Was it the broken nose? Is that what did it for you? Somebody hit this guy. Somebody hit him real hard.
His good boyish looks with his blonde hair.
You like that sort of that Midwest charm? Is that your thing? Is that what you're into?
Dude, I have no attraction when it comes to guys. Like, I met a fan today. Comes up to me.
Oh, you have fans.
Oh. Come up to this guy comes up to me, and he might be listening. It's fine. And he's a completely nice guy. During the day, he works at a nursing home. And I'm like, that's cool.
So he's actually trying to help the world.
Yeah. Let me finish. So he goes, but that's my day job. He goes, guess what my night job is? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, I'm in porn. I was like, what?
Not bad.
And he comes up to me and he goes, yeah, I've uploaded some fetish videos to Pornhub. And I'm thinking, what type of fetish? So then I begin talking to him. I'm like, what is it? I'm like, is it butt play? I'm like, what is it? Backdoor
You went
action?
right for the ass. Like you went right for the ass. I have no attraction to men, but when a guy told me he was into porn, I asked if it was butt play. You didn't ask, are you banging a girl? You didn't you
he
went
said
right
fetish video, and he seemed like a dude who would do that. And guess what his fetish was?
What's his fetish? Balloons. I'm supposed to guess. Balloons.
Girl sitting on his face while he chokes the chicken.
Well, yeah, so that sounds reasonable. Is that really a fetish? I like to eat a girl out while I jerk off. That's not real. I don't think that's a fetish because that's nothing to be ashamed of.
People watch the videos. That's
well,
what
of course.
Why would you want to see the movement of that? You know how dirty that is? The movement of choking a chicken is so filthy.
You're talking about jerking off.
That is such a gross movement. I'm
Well,
ashamed of masturbating. I don't like it. I feel like a loser.
Well, yeah, we look horrible when we do that. Of course we do. It's disgusting. It's horrifying. But this is the thing. Like you're saying, why would anybody want to watch that? Nobody probably has. Like that guy shouldn't be saying he's in porn because he takes videos of himself jerking off and puts them on the internet. If that was the case, every fucking drunk frat guy would be in porn. Not just frat guys, every drunk guy, period.
Yeah, man. I just couldn't believe. He goes, guess what my second job is? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'm in porn. And he's
No, you're not. You're a pervert. If you're listening, you're a pervert that jerks off and puts your dick on the internet.
But I appreciate you listening to Hoppe Hour. That was cool. And I was intrigued. And he's
See,
like,
that's a guy you should interview, by the way. You should bring him in and talk to him.
Hour.
Of course
Yeah.
you should.
I have to know like how he goes from just choking a chicken by himself to then choking a chicken while a girl sits on his face and he uploads it. And he was such a kind kid. He's maybe in his mid-20s, really nice, really sweet. I never would assume he's doing porn. That's what I found fascinating was he was so cool. I was like, oh.
But what do you think people that do porn are? You think they're just constantly tugging at their pants and they have a fucking bloody nose from doing coke?
No, I think they're douchebags. Like any porn actor, like they're all douchebags, and then all the girls are just they have no personality. Oh my God.
This is the time where I tell you for many years I was a porn producer.
You were?
Absolutely.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was. 100% I was. That's what I did for a long time. That's how I got started doing video production work.
Was that before you worked in radio?
Yes, it was. It was.
You swear to God.
I swear to God.
Eye to eye, man to man.
Man to man. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I worked for a company locally that was called thevoyerdorm.com.
The fact that you knew it, it's fine.
We did fetish stuff. We did pee videos. We did voyeur videos.
What's voyeur?
So
Keep it clean, but say it.
Yeah, nobody knows that the camera's there. Like the illusion is, right? Like
that it's like
a hidden camera. Like I hid a camera so it would be like Locker Room Secrets was one of the titles. So it would just be hidden cameras and girls are going and changing in a locker room.
What's it like directing it? Do you get turned on?
No, it's very technical. Look, I'm not gonna say there aren't times where you're like, oh, yeah, hey, this is all right, you know, but there are good days and there are bad days.
What's the bad day of directing porn?
Look, I have nothing wrong with homosexuals, but when it's gay week and you got to go into a hotel room with another guy and ask him to jerk off into a camera, that's a tough day, man. That's a tough day. When you're eyeball to eyeball with a big 9-inch cock, that's not an easy day. You start questioning things.
Is it good money?
I got paid very well. Of course it's good money. It's porno. Porno makes more money than all the major sports combined, I think. I made that up.
You probably made it up, but it's true. It seems like such a scummy business. How bad did the room smell?
Oh, it's, horrifying. It smells like open asshole and fresh cocaine. It's just fantastic.
Because I've heard different radio shows when they interview the girls that the room smelled disgusting.
Sure. How could it not? There's body fluids and sweat and people working.
What's the vibe like once the video's over with? Like, do the actress and the actor talk to each other?
Of course they do. It's very friendly. It's very professional. See, the thing is, you not just you, but many people are stuck with this idea in their head that porn is scummy or porn is weird. And look, that element exists. It absolutely does. But there are people, more so now than ever before, that are fairly well-adjusted people that do this. Like, porn is more mainstream now than it ever has been. These porn actors and actresses now make incredible amount of money. You look at somebody like Sasha Grey, who's been a legitimate mainstream. She's gross. How's she gross?
Her nipples are gross, and I hated her on Entourage. She ruined the show.
Okay. How many times have you had sex with a woman?
3.
Right. Sasha Grey walks in here right now. You're fucking Sasha Grey. Sasha Grey is not
right
gross.
In front of you.
Yeah, you're not going to be fucking her personality or her nipple. Sasha Grey's beautiful.
I don't know. I'm more of a Tory Black girl. I met her at a club in Holiday, Florida.
And she was nice to you, so now you're a fan of hers.
Oh, no, I was a fan of her before.
She smiled at me once. Now I really like her.
It was she smelled good. She smelled.
Oh, you are so creepy. You're so creepy. What is...
You smell real pretty, Tori. You make my pants so sticky.
No, dude, smell is something that's very underrated. You don't want, like, a bad smell.
Of course you don't want a bad smell, but the way that you said that and the fact that you're 7'10" and you're only missing bolts away from being Frankenstein makes it very creepy when you say,
I like the way you smell.
No, it's one of my turn-ons is I love a girl that smells good. Like, it's
Ryan,
fun to be around.
Ryan, everybody likes it. No, well, with the exception of Jim Norton, everybody wants a girl that smells like you should. Like, I like a girl that smells good. Yeah, I like a girl that doesn't have half a shit hanging out of her ass. These are all things that we want. These are all universal truths, my friend. That's what's going on here. I like a girl that smells good. I like a girl with a fucking open wound to her head. That would be weird. That would be shocking.
I like a girl that's kidnapped.
Nice. I like a girl that's already duct taped. That's my favorite kind of girl.
What's the weirdest thing you ever had to direct where you're like, oh, my God, what am I doing in my life?
I didn't direct it, but I edited it. It was a movie called Gay Bizarre Insertions. And so it was like an hour of dudes jamming things in their ass that weren't designed to go in their ass.
Oh, my God.
And the roughest thing.
Oh, my God.
And the roughest thing was, I believe they call it sounding, SOUNDING, sounding. I could be wrong on that. My memory, forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's where this guy was running a thin metal rod down his urethra and jerking off. Yeah, yeah, that was rough. That was rough. So even though I wasn't directing that, I spent a great deal of time on that.
Did you ever get to act in anything? Or
I did. I did non-sexual roles. I was the stalking stalker. Where I played a photographer in L.A. and I had a pair of pantyhose over my head with the eyes cut out.
What?
Yeah, keep it classy, man.
Do your parents know you did this?
Absolutely not. What's wrong with you?
I wasn't sure.
Of course they don't.
What if
and
they
the best part of this...
Well, how would you describe the income you're making?
I do video production work for a real estate firm, and I film houses and apartments and other things like that, and I put them online.
That's brilliant.
Well, I had to take a long time to figure out what I was going to tell him because I certainly wasn't going to tell him that because I, like you mentioned, like I said, I was raised Catholic as well. My mother has since passed away, but my father, I think even to this day, he'd be incredibly disappointed if he found out.
Yeah, I think my mom gets really sickened by how my show can get dirty. Like, she looks down on me. Like, what's weird is my mom's Catholic friends listen to the show, and I'm like, that's weird.
But why does your mom get weirded out? I mean, she's been fucking since she was 17.
Then she's gonna hate hearing that.
I'm sorry, Miss Hoppe. I'm going for the easy joke. But you know what? You should be really upset with your son. He is laughing so hard right now, and he keeps holding up signs telling me things to say about you, which I find disturbing.
Oh, man, what were your parents like growing up?
Oh my God, I was very lucky, man. I had great parents. there were times when I first started doing comedy where I'd meet so many comedians, they'd have such horror stories about their parents, and I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to make it in this business.
Yeah.
My parents left me very well adjusted. They're both incredibly successful, incredibly driven people, both in their own ways. And I don't know, like my dad was strict, man. He was a hard ass, but we always knew that he loved us at the end. So I got the belt more than a few times.
What's your relationship with him like now?
It's great. It's better than it's honestly it's better than it's ever been. And it turned the corner when I became an adult. Like I moved out to I was living in Denver for a while in my early 20s, and I left Denver and I went to San Francisco for a bit. I was out in San Francisco for a while, and things sort of fell apart, and I came home. And of course, my mom was asking me, well, "What are you going to do?" I'm like 22 or 23, and she's like, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "I don't know. I think I'm going to meet Tommy for some drinks later." She's like, "No. What are you going to do like with your life? Like, what are you doing with your life? You know?" Which is a reasonable thing to say to your kid who's completely and obviously rudderless. And my dad stepped in and he was like, Jane, Steven spent the day talking about a couple of places we've never been. So instead of giving him a hard time, let's just listen to what he's been going through for the past year. And then later that afternoon, which I thought was incredibly cool, later that afternoon I went grocery shopping with him. And he said, look, your mom's just worried about you. Don't let it get you down. You do what you want to do. You'll figure it out in your own time. You're not a dumb person. You'll be fine.
Was that the moment in your life where things changed?
That was big time. That was a huge moment because it showed me that he respected me as an adult, and it showed myself, and it taught me that, you know, I didn't have to freak out. I could take my time and I could do something I wanted to do. Because he was very adamant, because he knows I love to travel. He's like, look, you're traveling around the country. You're seeing everything you want to see. I joined the Army so I could travel. You obviously should not join the Army. So
I'm a pussy. I would not have survived a second in boot camp, dude.
No way.
Oh, God. I respect anybody that does that. I am such a little bitch. I would not have survived it.
No way. I have the body type of like tapioca pudding. It's ridiculous. I remember my dad like taking me to Fort Benning once when I was younger, and he's like, "This is where I learned. This is where I got my airborne certification. This is where I did this. This is where that." I was like, blown away. You know, it's hard. It's, you know, you talk about, everybody thinks, many people view their father as a hero, and I'm like, my dad's a hero. Like I really felt that way growing up. I had nothing but respect for him.
And then the other thing is, like, I get sad when my favorite character on TV dies. I can't imagine watching my friends die in front of me or just having to kill people. Like, I am so weak-minded and so kind-hearted, I could not deal with that whatsoever.
Well, I mean, you know, if you got a whiff of the enemy and they smelled good, you'd be fucking dead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it's like ISIS in front of me or somebody that's going to kill me, obviously I'll do it. But it's just, I couldn't do it.
No, there's the thought of being like, look, man, I have all respect to the world for those guys that do what they do. It's amazing, and the women that do it. But it's fuck, man.
And you see them when they come back, and you can just kind of tell they're not all there. Like, I've been talking to people lately, and I met a guy recently, and we were talking, and he's just, you can tell he's not all there. Like, it just affected him.
That is what is so frustrating when I hear people talk about going to war. That is so frustrating when I hear politicians talk about going to war. Look, there are times you have to have a military. You have to. The world isn't utopia. The world isn't a great place. There are fucking bad dudes out there, and you have to have a military, and we're lucky to have the one that we do. But I get very aggravated, especially when people that have never served are like, fucking drop a bomb on them, send the boys in there, shoot the place up. It's like, easy. We're talking about lives. We're talking about when those guys come back, like you said, even if they come back and they're 100% physically intact, mentally, you're not supposed to, we're not built to go through that much trauma. When we decide to go to war, it should be for the right reason, and it needs to be very thoughtful.
And a lot of times, these people that join don't know what they want to do with their lives. They want to do something with their lives. They want to be productive, but they have no passion with anything. They have a passion with wanting to have a passion, but they don't have any idea. So they join the Army, and they don't know what they're getting themselves into, which makes me sad, too, is I saw a kid from high school at the bar when I went home for Christmas, and, dude, he's changed within 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's just 4 years of being a Marine. He's a hard ass now. He was very cold. He wasn't fun to be around. I'm like, dude, you were the funny kid in gym class. I'm like, something happened within 4 years where you've gone polar opposite. It was weird.
Did he serve overseas? Was he a DC combat?
Possibly. I think just maybe being in the Marines or whatever it was changed you.
Well, their job is to turn you into a soldier. You know, and that's a tough process.
Here's my thing. I've been up for 15 hours, and I feel like I've been up forever. Like, I didn't want to cancel this interview at all, but when you sent me a message, do you want to do it on Wednesday or Thursday? I was like, and I was like, no, I'll do it. But I can't imagine being up for 72 hours, dude.
No way, man.
I am such a little bitch. I've only been up since 6, and I feel like I'm about to explode. I mean, the show's going good. I love the show. I'm just saying right now I'm not exactly all here. I'm a little tired. I've been up all day, but I can't imagine being up for this, but for another 60 hours,
Look,
dude.
you and I clearly should not even be in charge like a Circle K, let alone being in charge like an M1 tank. We're right where we should be.
Dude, if I
We're
were to
right
be
where
in
we
charge
should
of a
be.
Circle K, dude, that place would get robbed all the time. I'm so goofy and tall. Trust me. At first, the robber would leave, but then they would get to know me running the place, and they're like, let's rob the Circle K.
I like the confidence in your ability to control a situation.
Dude, I've been broken down my whole life. Then now I'm beginning to grow confidence. Like the mentorship of Mike Olivero, Kelta, and Rob here in town has really helped me. But I got broken down by a show in Cleveland. Then I was made fun of my whole life. Then now I'm beginning to get confident when it comes to being on this show and getting better around girls. But dude, it's a process, man. I got beat down mentally as a kid.
Real from friends or from your parents or
Friends.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a
well,
mama's
not friends,
boy.
but like, yeah.
Well, yeah, it was kids that I thought were my friends. Like, here's an example of how hard I tried to fit in. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
There's this cheerleader I really liked, and I've talked about this to the other comedians, and they can't believe this. And I thought I had the biggest chance at her because she was nice to me in math class. Even though she was banging the quarterback, I thought for some reason, back then I was really fat too, so I had nothing going for me. Thought maybe she would leave him and go with me.
Sure.
And she would say hi to me in the hallway. I'd be like, hi, Pam. She'd be like, hi, Ryan. So at lunch one time, I was mad that she was talking to Brad, the quarterback, and I wanted to get with her. So
You're mad she was talking to her boyfriend.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Seems reasonable. It's reasonable.
Yeah.
So far, it's all reasonable.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I get mad, so I squeeze my milk carton. It explodes, and I say, but I would treat you like a princess.
No, you didn't do that.
Yes.
Out loud, and people could hear you. No, Hoppy.
Dude,
Hoppy.
I wish I could have told myself 5 years ago, who cares? It's just girls. Dude, I tried so hard to fit in.
No, you didn't. That's not trying hard to fit in. Having a mental outburst in lunch is the opposite of trying to fit in. If you tried really hard to fit in, you would choke down your milk, swallow it, go to the bathroom, and cry like a goddamn man. But no, you squeezed the milk carton, you made a scene. That's why you didn't fit in. Like, I felt bad for you. I was feeling bad for you. But then I got to say, when you make a spectacle like that of yourself, then you smell like sour milk the rest of the day, I don't want to sit next to the sour milk kid. If you're the sour milk kid, you're never going to fit in.
Dude, you're killing me, man. Yeah, I was a weird guy. I don't
Yes. Yes.
know. The key word was.
Yeah, clearly.
Would you ever think
Let me
that
ask you
was
this before we move on. How did she smell? Because I would bet that whoever wears her perfume, that's who you're attracted to. And second, what I got to know, you can't end the story there. What happened? What was the reaction? Did she hear you?
Everyone laughed at me, and I heard about it until I graduated, which is funny now. By no means,
Oh, it's
and
miserable.
I complimenting myself, by no means am I saying I'm better than them, but all the kids who time passed them by and they partied for 8 years and now they're about to graduate college and they have no idea what they're doing. It's funny how the kids that TP'd my house are now hitting me up. Dude, I see you're doing things. I'm glad you have a passion. It's like you called me the R word and said I was going nowhere in life. It's just funny how those kids that were so cool in high school and even in college, it's kind of coming up to them a little bit.
Dude, that's the reality of it, man. Look,
High school, it doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing.
I wish I could go back and say it's 4 years that mean diddly squat. I am so mad at myself for that, but I've moved on. But I tried so hard to fit in that I got mad, and I didn't embrace who I was, and it's because kids picked on me that I didn't have anybody to help me embrace who I was. So that's why I love radio. It's because being goofy and awkward works.
yes, absolutely. Look, those years are hard, man. They're not easy. And when you start pouring milk on yourself and screaming, you don't make it any easier.
Yeah, you're not really helping your
But
cause.
What did you like? Did they give you a nickname after that?
It's always been Hoppy. It's always been my
Hoppy?
nickname. I wanted to go by the name Rhino.
I so badly, like, I'm trying to picture this whole thing. And, like, when you think about that moment, like, do you see it all in slow motion? Do
I
you
get
see
chills down my spine.
Do you see her face? What was on her face? Like, I would imagine, I'm sure people laughed at you, but what was her face?
I just remember everybody was so uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. I'm uncomfortable.
And you weren't even
I
there.
wasn't even there. I don't even know the people involved.
Here's what's more uncomfortable is I went to the bar by my house, and I'm thinking, no one's going to be there, even though everyone's in town for Christmas. And I saw all those kids, and now they're like, I'm so proud of you. You're in radio. You're doing good. You're down in Florida. And it's like, you're just saying that because I'm there. You're
Did you see her?
I have not seen her since.
Since the milk incident, or since
we
you graduated?
I have not. She's hit me up on Facebook saying she's proud of me. I'm like, this is weird.
You need, when you go home, you need to always carry a little tiara with you. And when you see her, you just go right up to her and said, this could have been us. This could have been us.
But we didn't Netflix and chill. That's the problem.
Yeah, this could have been us. You set her on her head, and you put your finger agagen her lips.
And then I take
and
a
then
selfie.
Just walk over. Yeah.
And I go, do you want to be a guest on Hoppe Hour? That's what you got to do. Be like, you want to call it and break down how creepy I was back then?
You should absolutely do that.
Oh, my God, would that be good?
You should do the Many Loves of Hoppe.
That's brilliant.
The Many Loves of Hoppe.
I would never do it, but it's brilliant.
Because there had to be other girls that you had crushes on that were unrequited.
That broke me down as a person. I'm trying to
How
think.
could it not? I'm horrified for you. Like, and I we're saying it very glibly, and you're laughing at it, but that is a fucking moment where you just.
And then having them prank call me at 1 a.m, and then having them TP my house and egg it was horrifying. And then they would make fun of my acne because it was really bad back then. Oh, and here's the best part. One of the kids that used to give me hell was going after Mike Kelta on Twitter saying, do you know this kid did this back in the day and Hoppe did this? And Kelta's
he was still trying to bully you over Twitter?
And this is like last month. And Kelta goes, you're just a jealous high school douche. And for once, I felt like I was a part of something. That's when I said, people here in town actually care about me. And
Absolutely.
he shut that kid down, and I blocked him. And now I can see who's viewing my Periscopes or my Snapchats, and sometimes I'll look just to see what the demographic is, and he views every single one of them.
Of course,
and it's
he
just funny how he used to give me hell, and now he's graduating, not doing anything with his life, and he used to make fun of me, and now it's like, screw you, Tim.
Dude, that is gonna be the fire that propels you through your life, man. I mean, really interesting people that achieve very interesting things very rarely
are normal.
Come from a milquetoast background. Absolutely, man. You know, there's always something
Radio
in there.
people in general, or comedians, are the weirdest people.
You
of
are
all
looking
time.
for some form of acceptance. When you're driven to go up on stage or get behind a mic and have people tell you that you're great and that you're entertaining and that you're funny, there's something there.
I mean, you see my retweets. I love retweeting people that hate on me, and I love retweeting compliments. It boosts my ego, but I have a good ego. I'm never going to let it get to my head. I'm going to always remember when I was 22 years old trying to make it in the business. And if anybody my age, when I'm 40, needs help, people ask for help now. I help anybody. I'm never going to let it get to my head. But there is a part of me where I think about this show all the time and how I can make it. And my goal is to have it in a drive time where it's my one job. That's all I want, dude.
That's how you get better.
Radio be my one job. I'm never going to forget where I came from. And you look at guys like Howard or Opie or Anthony or Jim Norton. They were in their prime in the 90s, but then they were in their prime again. And then they're at it again. The best people, the best comedians always change, and that's when you see true talent.
You can become timeless. It's not a fad. It's not a moment. It's not a flash in the pan.
That's why I look up to like Jim Norton and Opie and Anthony and Howard. It's because those guys went from being shock jocks, and now they're really good of having comedians on, and they support comedy, and Howard does phenomenal interviews. I never thought I would care about Madonna or Adam Sandler,
absolutely.
But he made it good.
Yeah.
And I despise Madonna's music, but he made the Madonna interview at least watchable. I didn't watch all 50 minutes. I watched like 7 minutes, but it was good.
I did once go to a gay bar and strip to several Madonna songs on amateur strip night at a gay bar.
Was this a gay bar with men or women?
Men.
Were they turned on by you?
No, who could be turned on by me, Hoppy? Absolutely not. They were not turned on by me at all.
Did you have the
what
same
a silly
hair
question.
back then?
What a silly question. Similar hair to this, yeah. I was lighter. I wasn't as fat as I am now.
Your hair makes you who you are. Like, you
Thank you.
look like a porn
Thank you.
director. You have the look of a porn director.
I appreciate that, I guess. I appreciate that. You have the look of a porn director. Okay.
No, you look like a porn director. Like, you
I
literally...
see that the bullied has now become the bully, Hoppy. I see that now. And I don't know if to be honest with you, I don't know if I appreciate it or not. I'm worried if I pull out fire, will you get scared and run away?
Like Frankenstein?
Yes. Yes. Very good.
You do listen to the Mike Calta show.
When I can, as much as I can. I got a little bit of a commute in the morning, so I turn it
I
on.
love when everybody thinks that, like, they don't get that it's radio and that it's entertainment. Like, there are people on radio that will exploit you and don't care about you, and they're all about themselves and their brand. But what I like about The Bone and Tampa Bay is people here are creative, and they actually want to see you succeed, and they will mentor you to help you.
Of course, this is the thing. You're given an opportunity. You're given a moment, and you're a big fan of radio, and obviously people that are listening to this more than likely are. All those quote stunt boys and all that little stuff. There's all these moments for them to excel and push past that. Like, you're given an opportunity. Yes, you're brought on air. You're brought on radio. They give you a bit of a hard time, but you're also given this amazing opportunity, and it's up for you to seize it and take advantage of it. And you're doing that.
And I learned what type of a person I want to be when I worked in Cleveland, and I had pubic hair put on my face, and I had to sniff foot cheese, and they catfished me, and they made me talk about my ADHD meds on air, and they made me have the girl I had sex with go on the air, and we had to break down what we did. And that's when I said, that's what I don't want to be. I want to be respectable on radio.
Absolutely.
I want to treat people good. I don't want to be the narcissist where I'm the best in the room. So that's why I'm always promoting local comedy. That's why I'm always about networking, is because even though it's Hoppe Hour and it's my show, I always want to share the spotlight and help anybody out. And I never want to be the phony where when the mic's on, I'm no wacky shock jock. But once the mic's off, I'm as social as a mouse.
What? I'm surprised that you would leave your hometown with that. It sounds like you really had a great time up there. You got bullied, got pubic hair on your face. Why would you ever leave? Sounds like a warm, loving, caring environment you came from.
I wanted a radio job, and the other thing was, it actually was a show that influenced me, and that's what makes me nauseated, was the show I worked for was the reason I was in radio. And then they treated me like garbage. So then I had the passion taken out of me. I felt like I was in high school again. And that's why I appreciate what Kelta and Rob and Olivero have done to help me get the second opportunity here in Tampa Bay to get my life back together. And that's why I appreciate any of the exposure Johnny B, Drew Garabo, Kelta have given me, is because in Cleveland I was nothing more than a piece of shit who was abused. And we know in radio that happens a lot, where the top dog is the smartest in the room. They're narcissists, but you know deep down, for you to be like that, something happened where you are overcompensating and you are not adapting with the times.
Sure.
Like, it's cool to be like that if you do college radio or your first few years. But if you're treating people like garbage at age 40, something happened in your life where you need to be the best in the room and nobody else can have fun.
Absolutely. And now here in Tampa, you're a piece of shit with a podcast.
I'm a piece of shit with a podcast and people that actually care about me and mentor me, even though I'm a piece of shit on the radio at times. And I bring it on myself. I will say this. In Cleveland, I was forced to do those bits, but on air, when I ripped up the bag over my head or other things that happened, I brought it on myself by not being able to take a joke. But now I try to meditate or work out or have a fun time and just not take it so seriously. Because at the end of the day, dude, comedy, acting, TV, radio, theater, whatever, means nothing. I went home to Chicago. Nobody recognized me. Nobody cares that I'm in radio. My own family at the Christmas table, I kept waiting for them to bring up Hoppe Hour and to talk about it. Nobody cares. You're not in Tampa. Nobody's ever heard me on a Mike Calta show unless they listen online. Nobody cares. That's what makes me humble, is the fact that if I'm not in the Tampa Bay area, if I'm in the Orlando area, nobody's heard of Hoppe Hour. You know what I mean? It always motivates me to never let it get to my head.
That's good, man. You got to keep that drive together.
You like
man.
that speech? It's supposed to be me interviewing you, and that was me ranting for 4 minutes.
Well, dude, you're a passionate guy, man. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, and that's what's gonna push you through.
That's why I respect comedians, is because you're able to laugh at yourselves. You're self-demeaning. That's why I like having you guys on. is because it makes for fun radio. It's a fun discussion because you know how to be funny. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. That's what is so great.
I am currently, but I don't have to be at all times.
This cup
just works out that way this time.
This cup that I'm drinking out of is the second smartest thing in this room.
It's doing its job much better than you are. It hasn't spilled anything once.
Dude, you're killing me. It's one of those things, though, where, like, I just know what I want to be in life. I maybe don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but I know that I want to have my own show where it's my main show, and I know that I'm going to appreciate the people around me, which is why I dig comedians. Do you know where I'm coming from with this last rant?
One of my favorite things about doing comedy is being around comedians.
Dude,
I really love.
It's a fun vibe to drink with
I love
comedians.
interacting with them. You don't have to. And there's nothing off limits. There's nothing you can't say. Like I said the N-word earlier in this podcast when I was talking about it. And I said it because that's an observation that I had. I never had to think when I'm with comedians about what it is that I'm saying or a joke or an idea. Not even a joke, but
because they're not uptight.
There's no filter. It's okay. Everybody knows where everybody's coming from, and you have respect for one another, and you don't have to be scared about it. And it's always fun, for the most part. I mean, I got to spend 2 years on the road with my best friend, buddy named Ian Gatoski. He lives out on the West Coast in L.A., and he just moved out there last year. And we spent 2 years on the road together, man. And we would drive wherever and do shows wherever. We did a run.
What's that like?
It was the greatest. They're the greatest times. They're some of the greatest times in my life, without a doubt. We did a run we went from Orlando to Milwaukee to Toronto to Jacksonville back to Orlando.
That is
right?
Quite the run.
Yeah, and we did a bunch of shows. It was so much fun. And look, there were times where it was miserable and it sucked, and you get there and the club puts you in a shitty hotel or a shitty condo. But it was so great to be able to be with somebody that was like-minded, that was as funny. We laughed so much the whole way that it's just that's a rarity in comedy because so much, especially at the level that I'm at, you're by yourself. You're going by yourself. You're showing up to wherever you're showing up, and you're hoping that something's going to work out. You're hoping that it's going to be okay. You're hoping that the person you're going to work with is going to be cool. So that's the best, being around creative people and being around that energy.
What's the craziest thing that ever happened while you were on tour during this 2 years of going from Orlando to Milwaukee to Toronto? Like, what are some memories you have?
One of my favorite memories was we did these shows up north, and it was at a club. The club was located inside an old hotel, and the hotel apparently was slated for demolition. We were the only people staying in the hotel.
That's creepy.
It was so creepy. But on Friday and Saturday nights, the place was packed. The shows were sat 300 people. It was a great room. Our flights back weren't until Monday. So we had all of Sunday in this hotel, and it had a bar in it. And I went up to the front counter girl. I'm like, hey, what time does the bar open? Because we wanted to get some lunch.
Yeah.
We wanted to watch the game or whatever the fuck it was. And she said, it doesn't open on Sunday. We're like, oh, well, is there anybody can pour us a drink or we can get, She's like, just help yourself.
And what happened?
Well, we opened the bar up, me and my buddy.
And you guys just drank all day?
And we just sat there all day long drinking. And we didn't wind up cooking. We wound up ordering pizza. We left the pizza in the bar. We go back to our hotel room, and now we're completely fucking wasted. We're polluted.
Is this before your show?
No, this is after.
Oh, I was about to say, Jesus Christ, if you're doing it before the show,
no,
how are you?
No. I very rarely get drunk before I go on stage.
I don't think it's possible to be funny when you're drunk.
I think it is.
Maybe not comedy, not always.
But it could get away from you real quick. You can lose
your track.
You can lose it real
and
quick.
some people can't do it high.
Yeah.
Some people lose it when they're high. So what happened? You go up to the
we
hotel room.
go back to our room, and we're drinking more. And I said, shit, we left the pizza back in the bar. So I went back to get the pizza, but the doors were locked. So we jimmied our way in.
Yeah.
And we start walking in, and the alarm goes off. It's fuck, We run out, we go back to the room, and I'm so drunk, and I'm such a shitty criminal, or I would be a shitty criminal. And my buddy looks at me, and he goes, all right, just stay in the room. If any cops come, we're not going to say anything. I said, no, look, if the cops come, I'll just explain to them that we're going in there to get our pizza. And he said, he had to look at me and said, Steve, getting a pizza is not an excuse for breaking and entering. Like, I don't know what you think you can get away with, but you can't, leave a pizza inside a bank after hours.
I love when you're drunk your reasoning sounds like you're going to get away with it. Like, I'll
course.
just say this, and they'll completely know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I'll explain that we pried open the door and busted the lock a little bit because I left a pizza in there.
They'll be cool with it. It's
Yeah.
happened to everybody. No big deal.
Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? That was great. There's a comedy club in Milwaukee called Jokers, and it's in the basement of a strip club. That's a great time. That's a good time.
Did you ever hook up with one of the dancers? Like, have you ever
Never.
gone to a club? I feel like back in the day you could have. Not anymore because you're not even allowed to look at them, or you have to pay $5 extra.
You're talking about a strip club? No, you can look at women at a strip club, Hoppy. What strip clubs do you go to that you can't look at the women? That's the whole point of the strip club.
I worked an event when I worked in Cleveland, and it was at one of the clubs, and I got in trouble because they gave me like 5 singles, and I kept putting them on the platform where they're dancing, and he would give me a dance, and then I would take the money back and just put it back on.
Okay, see, that's not the girl's problem. That's your fucking problem. You're a creep. That is a creepy move. Like what are you like? You try to do the old put a fishing line through the coin thing and put it in and get a free
Sort
soda.
of like El Bundy.
Yeah. What sort of course women don't want you around. Like strippers want one thing. They want money from you, my friend. They want money. And once you start taking money away from them, they lose interest real quick.
Dude, I was young though. I was 21. I didn't know what I was doing.
That was a year ago. You're 22 now. You can't look back and go, those are the good old days 4 months ago.
Dude, I bet you would have done that if you were 21. Don't act like you're better than me.
I am acting like I'm better than you because I am better than you in this particular situation.
You would have done it too.
I would
You're
not
the
have
one that
taken-
got blackout drunk and tried to break into a place to get pizza. You would have done the same thing.
That was pizza. This is completely different. Pizza's my passion.
Getting laid used to be my passion, but then I got heartbroken, so I don't do it anymore.
Oh, fuck. Now we got to get into this. But look, you can't take money back from a stripper.
Really?
That's the only thing they want from you. They don't want your
I
scintillating
thought it was a
conversation.
smooth move where they wouldn't notice that the money was...
Hoppy. You think a stripper's not going to notice
Oh,
missing money?
man, the corporate sponsor got real mad at me, too. Oh, they were livid.
Yeah. Why are you so surprised by this?
Because I was dumb, dude.
See, then at least you admit it. Like, at least you're capable of admitting it.
Because I was in an environment where you were supposed to be the imbeciles, and I thought it was cool, and I didn't know that I was being unprofessional.
So then you admit that I would be better than you in that situation.
Maybe, but you also weren't 21 on the biggest show in Cleveland.
What does that have to do with anything? That doesn't mean you're going to be a dumbass.
I thought you were fitting in because everybody else acts up, so you're like, I'll act up too.
Your excuses for this behavior are all over the board. Your excuses for this behavior is, I didn't know any better. You can't blame me. I was on a popular radio show. You and I should never go into crime together. We're both completely inept.
You would rat out on me in a second.
Absolutely. I barely know you. This is well, what have we been talking for about an hour? We've had an hour worth of conversation in our life. I would absolutely rat you out.
I would definitely go out partying with you, though. You seem like a crazy mother effer.
I am. I'm sober right now, which is unfortunate, but I'll start drinking again in August.
Are you sober because of an addiction?
I appreciate the concern in your voice, but the only surprising thing about my sobriety is that it wasn't court mandated.
Okay.
No, I turned 40 last August, and I decided to take a year off of booze.
Smart.
A year off of booze, a year off of... I haven't smoked any pot either, but I didn't say I wasn't going to. I just haven't for that amount of time.
Yeah. Is it one of those things where it feels good to not smoke after a while? You just
Absolutely, man.
Your
Dude,
brain doesn't
I
get
have
so
not.
mush.
There are times where I've missed drinking. I'm a great drinker. I'm a phenomenal drinker. I'm really, really.
You could get a PhD
good
in
at
it.
Absolutely, I'm one of the best of all time. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer when it comes to drinking. But for me, the reality of it was I'm a fat fuck, and I had to lose weight, and I found myself able. Like if I stayed sober during the week, I would eat right. I'd go to the gym a couple times. I would go on the right way, and then I'd go out on the weekend and just get hammered.
Dude, drinking throws off your workout. You might as well not work out when you get drunk on the weekend. There's no reason to even think about going to the gym because what happens is you go out and you say, I'm not going to get that drunk. I'm just going to have a few beers. But then your friends keep giving you drinks. And then before you know it, you have a food over the next day because you got food afterwards. And then you feel awful. You're like, why did I do that?
I don't miss it, man. There are times where I've been like, it would be nice to be drunk. It would be nice to be drinking because I love it. But all I think about is those hangovers, man, because those hangovers would absolutely destroy me. Because I would drink until the bar was closed, we were out of booze, or I was out of money. That was it. I loved it. I loved it so much.
I like how it calms my nerves because I get very nervous in social situations when it's like a crowded club. So if I have a few shots, then I feel calm.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm weird like that.
No, that's not weird. Like that, alcohol's a depressant. It'll calm you down.
It's just when I have 1 or 2 fireballs, I feel like I'm good. And then I pace it through the night. Because when I first turned 21, I was all about, gotta get turned up. And now I'm like, not really. You're just going to get hungover.
Yeah, you got to learn how to drink. Like I love whiskey. Real whiskey, not Fireball. I love whiskey, and I will drink.
Oh, I hate whiskey.
I'll drink whiskey, drink whiskey,
and I hate
whiskey,
vodka.
drink whiskey, drink. I could drink it all night. It's very enjoyable, but everything becomes blurred. Your choices become blurred. The last time I drank a bunch of whiskey, I was pouring it over my friend's testicles into the shot glass, and then drinking the shots that way. And that was a rough morning, man. That was a rough morning. That was the morning where you're like, ooh, scrotum whiskey. Maybe dial it back a bit.
A horrible hangover 3 weeks ago. My friend gave me 3 shots of Crown Royal. Oh my God.
Oh, I like bourbon a lot, but when I do shots, I like to do shots of Crown. Like that would be it. I'd shot in a beer.
Jesus Christ, you're a Hall of Famer, dude.
Dude, I love it.
You would go crazy.
I love it so much.
What's the craziest thing that ever happened maybe in your 20s when you would drink a lot?
Oh, fuck. I mean, besides drinking my friend's balls, that's a big one. When you start drinking somebody's balls, that's
the all-time play. That's your greatest achievement.
I broke into I broke into like a reception hall.
Yeah, you judged me because I was creepy around cheerleaders, and you judged me because I was immature throwing money trying to get a lap dance. But here comes the guy that just breaks into things.
Well, we were like staying at a hotel, and we were at the show in Orlando, and I broke into whatever, it was like some reception hall down there, and I found a cake, and I stole the cake, and I ate it. Now, that doesn't sound like that's not that crazy. I mean, it's a little bit illegal, but it's not like the crazy type of story you'd imagine. But when you wake up in the morning, just in your boxer shorts with a half-eaten quarter sheet cake in bed with you, that's a morning where you got to start questioning some of the choices that you're making in life.
What I hate is when you wake up, and I'm not saying you have food in your mouth, but you have like a little bit around, and you're like, ugh, I'm a gross human being. You know what I mean?
Oh,
when you
sure.
wake up and you can just taste, and you're like, God, am I disgusting?
I woke up one morning, and there was vomit everywhere in my bathroom. I mean, it was in the bathtub, it was in the sink, it was in the toilet. It looked like I just went in the bathroom and just like I was looking around for something. Where did it go? Very little of it, very, very little of it was actually in the toilet. And I started cleaning it up, and then I'm looking in the toilet, and I'm like, what is going on? What's in the toilet? And there was a smashed pint glass in the toilet. And then I go, and now I have all sorts of questions. So I go into the living room where my roommates were already up, and my door is smashed in, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Apparently, I was throwing up, vomiting, and then I got angry at myself for throwing up. So I smashed the pint glass in the toilet because one of my friends tried to bring me water. They're like, here, you need water. Fuck you, I don't need any water. I'm a goddamn man. And I smashed the pint glass in there. And my door got kicked in. There was in my bedroom, there was a door that went to the outside.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was a door that led into the house. One of my friends walked into my bedroom, locked the door behind him, came outside and came back in. And when I went to go to sleep, my door was locked. And they're like, oh, you must have locked it behind yourself. And I'm like, well, fuck it, I got to go to bed. So I kept running into the door and bouncing off it until eventually it splintered and shattered, and I got in.
Did you think you had a drinking problem at any of this?
Oh, yeah. I'm well aware.
Would you
I'm
consider
alcoholic.
yourself an alcoholic?
Oh, I am for sure an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic in the binge drinking sense. I don't have to drink every day. I don't need to drink every day. But I will, once I get 4 or 5 drinks in me and I don't have something that I have to do the next day, I will drink. Because
then you're just like, I'll just sleep it in.
Yeah, especially on the road. Like if I'm on the road doing comedy and the show's not till 8 o'clock at night and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, well, I can go to bed at 11.
I'm not like that. I usually, if I go to bed at 5, I feel pathetic. I feel like I'm doing nothing with my life.
Yeah.
So you've gone to bed at 11 a.m.?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've never done that.
Well, that's more coke and meth than it is booze.
You've done meth?
Yes.
Dude.
It's a good time. It's a real good time.
What's it like?
It's really fun. It really wakes you up. You feel great about yourself. You don't get depressed the next day at all. you're just super speedy and everything. You know, you're. It's like really intense coke. Like, you never done coke?
No.
I say this like it's a normal thing. Like that you should have. Like, why haven't you done cocaine? When I was living in Denver, I could never find coke, but I could find crystal meth, and we did it more than a few times. Smoked it a couple times, that's a fucking trip, and it just. You feel like you're Superman, man. You're awake. Your eyes are pinned out. You're just like,
what about
yes,
ecstasy?
I'm alive. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I've done most drugs.
Black tar heroin?
Never done heroin. I came close to heroin, and at the time I was very upset that I didn't do it. Some friends of mine in Denver were like, "Hey, we're getting some heroin tonight. If you want to try heroin," and I was like, "Yeah, I absolutely want to try heroin." And then I went out and got drunk, and I was like, "You know what? Maybe I'll skip doing heroin." But they just sniffed it, and I asked them the next time I saw them, I don't think it was the next day, I'm like, how was it? They're like, you didn't miss anything. Feels really good. You can't get off the couch, whatever. You know, so-and-so got sick. So I would never have shot up. That was never going to be a concern for me.
Do you feel rejuvenated now that you don't drink anymore? Do you feel like a new man?
I feel a lot better than I had felt, absolutely, because like currently, it's ridiculous, but right before Christmas, I did something called the Whole 30, which is no dairy, no processed food, no added sugars.
How was that?
No grains. It was rough, man. It was rough. The first couple weeks were rough. Then I definitely started feeling better, and I'm in the middle of that again. Today is the 14th day.
You got to do the shred diet. It's where you have protein shakes, and you have 3 snacks a day, and then you have chicken or fish for dinner, and they just need you to work out for 30 minutes a day. Trust me, the shred diet, I know when you hear the word diet, you think of a fad. Trust me, the shred diet's how I lost it.
Dude, no problem. I'll look at it for sure. Like being sober has helped me. So like I'm down about 20 pounds since I started doing all this.
Oh,
which is really good. I feel better than I felt.
Yeah, working out makes you feel confident. Like it calms you down.
Absolutely. It's, and I haven't been going to the gym much, but I started a couple years ago going to the gym infrequently, and it does, man. Anytime, and it's so ridiculous to me because I will go to the gym. I'll do whatever I'm going to do, the treadmill weights, whatever, and I'll feel great. I'll feel alive. I'll feel like, yes, I'm doing something positive. But then immediately I would fall back into eating like shit, drinking like an animal, snorting up everything that was in town, and just being generally acting like a jackass. And I had this weird disconnect in my head where it's like working out, eating right makes me feel good, yet I keep falling back into these same traps. And I had to come to grips with the fact that it was alcohol that was allowing me to do that. So now I do. I feel great. I feel clear-headed. I'm writing more than I have in the past, and I'm taking everything a lot more seriously.
My show's been better than ever now that I try to go to the gym at least 5 days a week. And I don't eat the best just because I'm lazy and I don't really know how to cook. But at least going to the gym, and I take creatine just because I want fast results. And just when you feel good through your shirt and you can just feel the weight lost,
absolutely.
There's nothing better. Or you take that picture and nobody sees the difference, but you're like, yeah, my face isn't as fat.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, there's nothing.
Absolutely.
Because then you want to begin taking more pictures. You're like, hey, can we take 3 more?
Of course.
But before, you're like sucking in your gut. You're like, I look good, but you really don't.
It was miserable. Yeah, and the thing is, I did. You have to do it. Like, I don't want to die. I'm not interested in dying. I'm 40 years old. I got to lose this weight, and it's been surprisingly easy.
I'm the same way. Like, I don't know. I think it's because my dad died, but it's just I just can't imagine like dying at age 50 because, well, he died of leukemia, but it's just like I feel like the route I was at in Cleveland, I would have died by now. I just drank so much.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would have been fat by now and done nothing with my life. That's why I can't thank them enough for saving me and giving me the second chance. Like, they didn't have to. I mean, it's just like you feel so reckless, and then the people you're around instigate it because you have nothing else to do, and then you become friends with them, but you don't realize that they're not your real friends. That's the problem.
That's one of the things that they talk about, and I'm not an AA guy. I didn't do it. It's fine if people need to. There's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. But I didn't go to rehab. I didn't do anything like that. I didn't think I had to, and I know that I don't have to. But that's
the mindset.
That's one of the big things they talk about, which is you have to stop hanging out. Like you can't be a heroin addict, recovering heroin addict, and hang out with heroin addicts
because they're just going to bring you down.
Yeah, and for me, it's different. Like, I've been fine going out and not drinking. Obviously, I'm at the clubs all the time doing comedy. The only time it's rough for me is like when it gets to 1 or 2 in the morning and everybody's really drunk. That's when I'm like, okay, I can't. This I can't do.
Being around drunk people and not drunk is annoying.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's miserable.
Because everyone's just being obnoxious, and you just realize how dumb drunk people look.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I was fucking the king idiot.
Like when you're drunk, everybody seems normal. You're like, hey, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
But then when you're around drunk people and you're being the DD, you seem like such a moron. You just go, that's how I look.
Of course. I'm the guy that normally has vomit on himself. That's normally me. Meditation's a big thing, too. You said you're meditating?
I'm trying to meditate. I don't know. I'll do it for like 5 minutes and I feel calm, but I've never had a session where it was like an hour long. And
no, you got to build to that, man. You can't. Nobody can start with that. Yeah, not as frequently as I should, but I try to. I try to every day.
I don't know. I try. I think at least doing something helps. I just have so much anxiety, and I'm open about this on the air.
I have terrible anxiety and panic disorders.
Because I have ADD, ADHD, and bipolar, and like sometimes I just get so nervous and I overthink things. Like I was thinking I'm going to bomb the Jim Norton interview, but then I worked out and then I felt good. But it's like the meds help me, and it's just like I'm a crazy person. I'm not crazy like a mental hospital, but like being a comedian or being in radio, it makes you crazy because you're so self-centered.
Sure.
And you're so like, if you're not in radio or you're not in comedy, what we do seems crazy.
Absolutely.
Talking into a mic by ourselves or talking to people. But to us, when you're around people that do the same thing, like us being creative guys, it seems normal. You know what I mean? Like we are fucked up people.
Absolutely. Like people all the time are like, why would you do that? I can't imagine doing that. Why would
and
you
then
do
they
that?
roll their eyes like, oh, you're in comedy. Oh, you're in radio. It's like, yeah, that's what I want to do, bitch.
Well, see, the thing that people often mistake is, and my buddy Ian, I remember him, we had this conversation. You would actually really like him. His comedy's fantastic. He's diagnosed bipolar too, and he talks about that a lot in his act, and it's very interesting to listen to his take on it.
My thing too is my problem with social situations is I read it too fast, where if somebody isn't nice enough to me, then I go, oh, I just did something wrong. Oh, they don't like me. Oh, and it's just like, they're having a bad day. Who cares? They're not mad at you.
Dude, I overthink everything. Everything is a constant struggle inside my head. Like it's exactly what you're talking about. If somebody walks by me too quick, somebody doesn't acknowledge me, like what the fuck? Like I'll walk into a club where I know the manager, or I know some of the staff, or whatever, and if they just sort of, oh hi, I'm like, oh, what did I do last time I was here?
Am I wearing the wrong clothes?
What did I do?
Do I smell wrong?
Yeah,
What's
am I
wrong?
late? Yeah, dude, I have to check so many times on the start time for shows that it's obnoxious.
I'm the same way.
Like I know what the show schedule is, and I can know it by heart. I can know the venue by heart, but I still have to check it every day.
I'm the same way. When it comes to setting the alarm to get up, I have to check 9 times to make sure it says 7:15 a.m. It doesn't say 7:15 p.m. It doesn't. You go to bed. You're like, oh wait, does it say 7:15 p.m.? So you turn on the phone. And you're like, no, it's 7:15 a.m.
Endless.
You go to bed for 3 minutes. Wait, does it say 7:15 p.m.? And then, yeah.
I have to touch all. It's just so stupid. I have to touch all 4 burners on my oven, on my stove before I leave the house. I cook breakfast in the morning before I leave, and the only way I have to do that so that I can, while I'm driving to work, go, I touched every burner, because I'm
that's not as bad.
Not like I have to touch it in order to leave the house, but I have to do it so that when I'm on the road and I think, did I remember to turn the burners off? Yes, and I can visualize myself having touched them.
That's responsible. That's crazy responsible. That's not like, oh my God, is the time right?
No, it's not. No, is the time right is normal too. These are not straitjacket things. These are just like a normal person could look and go, yes, it says AM. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
People like us have to go, it says AM, and lay in bed for 10 minutes and think about all the ways your life is terrible and why you're a terrible person, all the people that hate you. And then you have to go, oh, does it say? Yeah, it still says AM.
It's also weird. I haven't been sleeping well lately, and I have the most bizarre dreams of all time. I have dreams where I'm like, what the hell happened? I'm so focused on making the radio thing work that I have dreams about radio. Like I want to make it shut off, but it's like it's all I have, dude. It's weird.
But that drive is going to be what gets you where you want to be.
It's just weird. Like I have a dream that I'm hanging out with Opie and then we're getting a beer and I wake up and I'm like, I'm dreaming about radio. I'm like, what's wrong with me?
In your dream, are you both shirtless?
No, it's just us hanging out.
He's the only one shirtless, or you're the only one shirtless?
I never have dreams that are sexual. I've had dreams back in the day when I thought I had a chance with the cheerleaders where you would almost get with them. You wake up, you have a morning glory, but then you're like, oh, I didn't get laid. Every time I almost had a wet dream, the girl is about to take off her top, and then you wake up and you're like, God damn it.
You can't even get laid in your dreams?
No.
That really is.
You've never
troublesome.
gotten laid in your dreams?
No, I'm saying you can't. Of course
Have
I
you?
have. I've had fucking wet dreams, of course.
I've never gotten laid. I always wake up right when it's about to get good.
Boy, we got to work on your confidence, man. We really got to work on your
that's what it
confidence.
is?
Well, it's not a good sign of your confidence.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
If even your subconscious says you're not worthy,
yeah.
there's something to be looked at there, Hoppy.
Dude, it's that whole thing of being broken down for 12 years in school.
You're on your way
I've
back,
only
man?
been out of school for 4 years, but I mean, I'm doing it. I'm trying.
Dude, 4 years is a long time when we're that age. How did Opie smell in your dream? Wondering if that stuck out to you at all.
I can't believe I said that to you about Tori Black. She did smell good, though. I remember that. I was like, oh, my God, you smell good.
See, it's that. It's the way you say it right there. Oh, my God, you smell good. Ugh.
Can you help me with this couch? Can you help me get this couch in the van?
What's your address? I want to hang out sometime. Oh, my God, man. Like, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years when it comes to comedy?
In 5 years, man, that's tough. So I want to be headlining. That's it. Like last year, I started headlining more and more clubs, which has been great. And in 5 years, I don't mind doing feature work. I don't mind hosting. I like it, but I love headlining. I want to be making the bulk of my income doing comedy, and I want to have a couple different entertainment avenues opened up to me as far as acting and some video production work that I'll do for myself. Like I have an idea for a web series that I've been sitting on for a while, and I think this is the year I'm going to actually finally be able to get it done. So in 5 years, I want to be producing my own content that is getting me paid. And
Dude, this area is so loyal that's possible. Anything is possible here. It's a big market, but it's not a big market in the same way. It's very tight-knit.
Absolutely. No, this is a great market. It's a great market to start doing comedy. It's a great market. It's a great market for a lot of things. It's a great market for doing this.
Radio, too.
Yeah.
And before I let you go, where can people find your work and your next shows?
So my website is stevemiller813.com. I update that regularly. My calendar's on there. Actually, unfortunately, my social media isn't on there, but all my social media, Facebook, Instagram is Steve Miller 813. Twitter is Moonshine Miller. With the O's are zeros because I like to make it as difficult as possible for people to find me on
I'm
social
looking at
media.
your website. I like it. It's very slick.
Yeah, it does need a little bit of an update, and I think that's actually one of my plans for the first quarter of
Hit
this
up
year.
Law Smith. He makes badass websites with Squarespace. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I do that as well. So, but Law's very good at what he does.
Squarespace is the future. I hate WordPress. Squarespace is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Squarespace is it's intuitive. It works well.
It gets the job done.
Yeah, and then this Sunday, the 24th, I'm closing Side Splitters on Sunday, which I already said twice, like because I'm a dummy. The show's at 7:30, and actually Rob from the
Mike Calta show will be there.
He's going to be doing some time. I think he's doing like 5 to 8 minutes or something like that. He's doing a guest spot up front, so that's going to be a great night. And if you use promo code SM, tickets are only $5. So if you hop on the Side Splitters website, you can buy tickets. You can get them for only $5.
Well, dude, Tampa Bay is legit, but this was one of the most unique interviews I've had. We were all over the place, but it was in a good way.
I think it was a lot of fun. And I'd like to point out, we're just a couple Best of the Bay winners hanging out.
What did you win?
Best Local Comedian 2014.
Damn right.
Best Up and Coming Comic 2012. I'm a 2-time winner, and I want you to be a 2-time winner, right?
I wonder what my next one would be.
I want you to
Best
be a
Local
2-time
again. I wonder what mine. Maybe in 5 years when I have my own show, it'll be Best Radio Show.
Exactly. That's what I want to hear.
Or maybe somehow I'll get confidence and then I'll be the next Charlie Belcher on TV.
I love it. Dude, you could do that all day long. You kidding me?
I would be good at that. I have to get confidence. We'll work on that. We'll get that done.
First, we're going to get you laid in your dreams. Then we'll get you a TV show.
I'll be the next Charlie Belcher who gets laid in his dreams.
I wonder if Charlie Belcher has ever heard anybody say that. I wonder if Charlie's going to go, wow, somebody wants to be the next me. And if he's just like drunk at home, miserable, who the fuck wants my life?
I love Charlie Belcher. I met him at Mike
dude.
Kelta's birthday. Dude, everybody in this media market for the most part, dude, the TV people are great. Melanie Michaels is great.
I've met her a couple times. She's very nice.
She's great. Orlando is great. I met him from Wild 94.1.
Yeah.
Everybody from the Bone is great. Chris Fisher, the local sports anchor, is great. Mark Wilson is. Dude, like in Chicago, there's a lot of uptight people. Down here in Tampa, the TV people are great. The radio people are great.
This is a great town, man.
Gino's cool. Dude, this town is full of legit people.
Yeah. This is a town that wears flip-flops and shorts to weddings. We take things pretty casual.
Well, dude, keep up the good work, and I'll probably be at your show on Sunday, I believe.
Fuck that probably. Just come.
This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.